Hi everyone, I'm Dane Campbell. Welcome back to Change with Dane. It's the 16th of September 2025, and I want to welcome you back to the channel where we talk about changing thoughts and behaviors so that you can find greater peace and success in life. I really appreciate you coming back to listen and hopefully to help yourself make some of those small changes in life that can really show some big impact or some big benefits over the course of your lifetime. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about reinforcers. Now, this is a big word which simply means the things that you set up in this process that are going to increase the possibility that you're going to stay on the path of change. They're the things that will reward you or help you in the process when you have made little benefits or have reached small goals in your behavior change. So in terms of reinforcers, I like to think about things that really mean something to the individual. And today I'm going to talk about 3 reinforcers that I think can be very strong for people, but in your personal situation, they may not be. And so what I'm asking you to do is just think about, are the ones that I talk about today potential reinforcers for you? And if they're not, what are the things that could help spur you on or make you feel great about some of the small changes that you are making in your thoughts or behaviors? The first reinforcer that I want to talk about is actually the flip side of one of the barriers that I talked about a couple of weeks ago, and that is people. People can be extremely reinforcing in behavior change. Sometimes when we strike out to change our behaviors, we feel like we're alone. We feel like, it's us against the world and this habitual thing that we've always done. And now we're trying to fight not only against the world, but this habitual thing we've always done. So sometimes it's nice to have other people, your cheerleaders, your coaches, your, the people that bear you up and push you forward when things sometimes get challenging or difficult. A lot of times we're talking, let's stay with the example of changing physical behavior, physical activity, increasing physical activity in your life. Sometimes it's nice in doing this to have somebody alongside of you that is doing the same thing. So if you are going to start walking can be sort of a solitary and maybe boring process if you're doing it for a long time and you're doing it by yourself. And maybe for some people, that's what they want. They want to be at peace and just be by themselves and doing that. But just think about if you were to join, say, a walking club and they met at a certain time each week. There starts to be sort of an expectation, not only that you'll show up, but you'll have that same expectation for the other people in that group or in that club to show up. And then you start holding each other accountable. Why didn't you make it? Is there anything we can do to help you get here? What would be beneficial to you in our group to increase the time or activity? So you can see that sometimes it might be good to have people involved in your change process who can reinforce the change that you're making and help you get through some of those difficult times or over some of those barriers. Another good example of this would be when someone hires a trainer, when they go to the gym. Of course, I'm not advocating that you have to do that. This doesn't have to be a process where you, put out a lot of cash to make a change. But some people will do that because it helps them have some accountability, somebody who kind of knows the process of making physical changes, and then they can, be there to inspire, support, and teach when you are working through the challenges associated with increasing physical behavior. I want to talk just a minute, and so that would be one of the reinforcers is people. I want to talk just a second about the next reinforcer, which I'll call it rewards, but you put whatever name on it that you want to. So let me just give you a really quick example, and again, not something that you have to do, but it's something to think about. So let's say you have been sedentary and you want to run a 5K. And so you start with the very process of walking, and then maybe a walk jog, and then maybe a jog walk, until you get to the point where you can do a mile or 2 miles, and you're working up to that 3-point, whatever. And so maybe the reward is you sign up for the race and you get that, kind of burst of, endorphins and good feelings that you're going to be able to do something that you haven't done before or that you haven't done in a very long time. Maybe the reward is you will buy yourself a new pair of shoes or a new pair of shorts or a new, running shirt or whatever if you finish the race or if you make it to race day. These are the kinds of things that I'm talking about are rewards. They don't always have to be things that you have to pay for or buy as well. You may reward yourself with an extra scoop of ice cream if you hit all of your physical goals during the day, during the week, during the month. I don't know. These are things that are very personal, and so it's important that you think about the thing that is worth it to you to work towards, because remember that we're trying to reinforce the change. We're trying to make it more likely that you're going to do the new behavior or that you're going to work with the new thoughts that you're telling yourself. So those would be rewards. They can be things that you purchase. They can just be more time for yourself that you put on your calendar, or maybe time to read something that you've been wanting to read, or watch something on TV that you've been wanting to watch. So they don't have to be things that cost you anything, but they do have to be things that are important to you. And then the final reinforcer I wanted to talk about was better health. And this is going to take a little while to get to, because if we've been sedentary, if we've been sitting around for years and our activity level is way low, our weight's gotten a little bit out of our, comfort zone, maybe we're a little bit depressed with where we're at, it will take a little while to turn that around and be consistent with the behavior change so that you can start to see some of those benefits in health. But I will tell you that if your goal is to walk 10 minutes 2 times a week, and you do that every week for a month, this part of you will suddenly feel better. You will feel greater success and a little bit less depressed. maybe a little less anxious, and that will generate, again, a reinforcement to help you work towards better health. Sometimes people will do these things and they'll lose 5 pounds, and then suddenly they see that difference in the scale. They see that difference in the mirror. And that just generates the energy needed for continued change and continued effort in being able to overcome the barriers that often come with attempting to make behavior change. So reinforcements are very good, and sometimes we need to really be thoughtful in building those into the process so that we are giving ourselves, if you will, a little pat on the back for the challenge that it is to change our behaviors and to develop new habits. So I hope you'll think about reinforcers, and I hope that you will really take a minute to ask yourself, what are the things that would increase the likelihood that you will, keep your head in the game, stick with this process, and keep trying to work with the behavior change. I just had a thought. I picked increasing physical activity as an example to talk about. If any of you listeners have a behavior that you're thinking, how would this fit into this model, and you're having a hard time with that, comment, send me a note, send me a message, just comment in the comments, and I could talk through that as an example, just like I've talked through increasing physical activity. And we can look at other specific behaviors that people may want to change or think about changing, and how you can put that into this process. I want to just take a minute and thank you all for listening. Thank you so much for coming back. And if you're working on changing thoughts and behaviors, thank you. Thank you for doing that. I know this process can be a challenge, but I know that it's doable, and I wish you the best in all of that. And I would just ask you, if you could, to like and subscribe. And if you have any comments, please leave them. I try to answer to each one of those. And I really look forward to talking with you again next week. So until then, take care and good luck with your change.